It is almost 2019. This is Saturday, and I'm Pat Sloan. This is my little fireside chat without the fireplace, although we do have a fireplace. It's back here behind me. It doesn't have a mantle, which is lucky for me since my studio is in here. Our weekly sew-along is coming up in a few days, Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my favorite day. How about you, right? You know, it is fun. This is going into my third year of doing a weekly sew-along. They're super easy blocks. And this year, for the first one that we're doing, I'm doing a little twist because I recently got the Gemini die cut machine. And so I thought it would be super fun to give you each block with not just the rotary cutting directions, but also which dies to use to cut the block. And they're all very simple blocks. And that's going to be in your pattern on Wednesdays. So if you want to have a die cut machine or you're really interested in it, I'm going to do another little demo. I've done some prior demos. I'll link to those. And right now, the Gemini, I have a discount for my viewers, for my quilters who like to sew with me. That's you. So we have a discount for the machine and this box of dies. And this die box is the one I'm going to use, only these, for the weekly A Flower Bouquet sew-along. But I want to show you the quarter square triangle that's in here. This box, when you open it, you actually get, you have this little file drawer, and these come out. And I've showed you the triangles before, and there are squares. Whee, right? The square, or that's the well, there's the triangles are sliding out. Sorry. There's the squares. And then the third one here is the quarter square. So I have that here. And I want to show you that running through and then talk a little bit about quarter square triangles. So let's just go right down here and get to business, right? Oh, did you see my t-shirt? Let me eat, sleep, quilt, repeat. Yes, this is from the Fat Quarter Shop. I'll link to it, so if you want one. You can be too cool for school, just like me, right? Okay, for the Gemini, which there's the machine, the gorgeous machine. It has different parts. You have two of these clear plastic pieces. There's a metal piece. There's also stuff. This also does paper and other things. You get some other shims. These are called shims. Then you have this smoky one. It's a little different material, and then the other hard one. So what we're going to do is use the quarter square die. So here are the dies. This square one. Now facing it, can you see that's flat, right? And then on the back side, it is ridged. And that ridge part goes down on the fabric because then it it pushes like this. And here is the quarter square one. I'm using the 4.5, which means the block will be 4.5 when I sew it. And this is an example of the block. So there is a 4.5 inch, and when it goes into the quilt, it's 4 inches, regular quilt math. But the cool thing here is, do you see the blunt ends? That means that there are no dog ears to trim off. There's no those little points that you cut off so they don't snag down into your feed dogs. And there's no trimming. This is exact size. So your seam allowance needs to be spot on, but you can do that. This little tray is the lid, which has tells you what dies that goes on top of the tray. And so it's great. I just put the dies on that I'm using so they don't get lost on the table because they're not very big and they could easily get misplaced, and so I don't want to lose them. All right, now we're going to layer the fabric. There's two ways you could do this. We're going to put the fabric, we have the clear, we have the metal, because it's going to press into the metal, and they get looking like this because they're pressing that ridge down, and so it's, that's what happens. Put the die up there. See how it can get lost easily? You can barely see that right now. Now I could take this fabric and just double it over, and I could start, cutting them out like that, and then flip it, run it through, cut it out over here, etc. But you could also decide that you want to put the pieces right sides together, and I did that before with this one. So if I wanted to put them, they don't have to be, I just want to put a glance, similar spots, so have very little waste. But now I want to put the die right side, the ridge side down, which is not sharp at all. So for those of you, I mean, I'm on the ridge. It's just, that is what presses through the fiber. It presses in there pretty good. Now I could just do one, and I could just fold this up on the side and let it go through, or I could fold this all in half. Now these are right sides together, so when they come out, as you'll see, you could just take it right to your machine and sew. Or I could layer 4 of them just like this. See, now I've got 4 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will put the die here because I know I'm going to, not mess anything up there. Now we will, I want to be sure I catch all the fabric is what I mean. I mean, don't want to get off the, so that, whoops, let me just show you. I don't want to be so the die shifts or anything like that. I want to, get down here. Because next thing I have to do is I'll have to put this shim, and I have to rotate these. These get sort of wonky after a while, and you rotate them and flip them every time you use them. When I first learned, I forgot to do that, and I was just sort of running them all together at the same spot. I'll keep reminding you. So now I'm going to make this whole sandwich here and run it through the machine. So let's back up a little bit so you can see the machine. It is on, the light's on, and I will take it at the front. I have it lined up, and I will take it in here to the front and get it sort of positioned in, make like the little sandwich, get it positioned in. You don't want any of the shims like sticking out the side. And you get used to this. And then I'll just take it from the back, and once you go about halfway, you'll hear it, and then it'll grab it and go. So you're going about halfway in. Now it's going to grab it and it's crunching. And there you go, you hear it. It's like pushing down to cut the fabric. And it comes out the back end. There are safety guards. You can't get your fingers in there to, in the back, because you can't even go in from the back. There's lots of safety guards. It's really brilliant. Sarah Davies invented this. It's amazing. It does paper. It does embossing. So, okay, let's take a look. Those other videos I showed you other units. I don't think I showed you any quarter square. So let's, let's go down here. So you can take a good look. So it went through the machine, and I just pick it up, and there we go. So this now has, I did, 1, 2, 3, I did 4 cuts. So I did 2 from this side and 2 from this side. So let me show you. I've got a pink and a green right sides together now. So I can just take that and run it into the machine, and a pink and green like this. So the quarter square triangle, let me just show you what that block looks like. So you are lining up not on the long edge, you're lining up on one of the other ends. There we go. And that's what it looks like. And when you sew it, it looks like this. So I could do a whole quilt of quarter square triangles from scraps. Let's say I want to do pink and green. That'd be pretty for spring. I could do a whole bunch of those. And so this just goes sewn through. Now you can see how there's no dog ears. See, it's a blunt cut, so that can you see there? So that when I sewed it, it was also a blunt cut. I didn't trim off any of those. I didn't trim off any of those little dog ears that are out for other things. All right, that is a quarter square triangle. Let's talk about the project for a minute or two. The weekly project, a flower bouquet. I want to tell you a little bit about it. I want to show you the fabrics again in case you didn't see them. There's still a few kits for it if you're interested in the kit. But the flower bouquet is once a week at I Love to Make Quilts. You can sign up for the notice, and I always post in the Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. But you will want to sign up for the notices too, so you get an email that tells you there's a new block on Wednesday. So Wednesday becomes very fun. It's all going to be sort of gardening thoughts and different sort of flower things. It's not what you might think, because I really love gardening, and so it's more my story. I like to tell a story with each of these quilts and tell you a little bit about me and how I relate to what we're talking about. So for the flower bouquet, where's my fabric? We have a whole group of super, super pretty fabrics. Very soft. You can buy other fabrics, but if you like mine, there's still some kits. So I want to show you what I have here. There are gray, a couple gray pieces, because I just thought they played so well with all the others. Okay. Let me give us some room here. My table gets to looking messy. Okay, so here are the gray. We have gray, and that's a butterfly. Oh, so pretty. And then there's a couple of green pieces. So those are sort of the darkest ones besides the purples. There are 2 purples in the group because some of the fabrics have pinks in them, so that kind of pulls from that. Then I have yellow. Whoops, I got that over there. So then I have yellow, 2 yellow fabrics. From there I went to peach. It's a whole group of pretty peach fabrics with lots of florals. I love this plaid. And words. There's 2 word prints. Then I went to the light color florals. This is very cool. So some of them are directional. They'll be fun to play with. More lights, lights. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Some more text. And then I've got white. So one of the things about the white is that I wanted to use this to sort of offset the blocks being lighter fabrics. With the white fabric, they will be, I'll be able to get a really nice contrast with the white. I'll use it, quite a bit. If you decide you want even more contrast in yours, it's a basic, the white's a basic, so you can always just get a little bit more white if you feel like, okay, I'm going to use it more than Pat is, which is totally fine. That's why I like to have one basic in there so that you have a little bit more control, and solids are less expensive, so that's nice too. So you could get like another half a yard if you felt like later on through the project you're like, I really want to use more white in it. That's always sort of a nice way to balance out what's going on with the fabric choices. Plus, if you're using like your stash, you should really have some sort of basic to help tie all those prints together, because the prints that I like to use for this one are pretty, they're not bold, but they have a lot of pattern. They're not little all teeny weeny tiny things. So that is the plan there. I also have Out of This World, which we are getting more kits made. Fat Quarter Shop is doing more kits for me, for us, and those will hopefully be in the next few days. The fabric's been ordered, so it has to come in, and I'll let you know. So this will be like, we've done several sets of kits for that one. And today I did the directions for Christmas figs in blue. The red one is absolutely, the red and green one is absolutely gorgeous as well. I don't have that one here right now. I just pulled the blue one off my design wall because I need to take everything off the design wall, and I'm going to be sewing with this. I'm going to be getting the flower bouquet up there so that I can sort of work through the blocks and start we're working ahead a bit, because in January I have some other projects I have to do. So early part of January I'm going to be working ahead a bit so that I'm ready, and I have these little videos to do for using the Gemini die cutter, showing you that. So remember, you get a discount on the machine and the box of dies only for a few more days. I'll put all the links there so you can use my link and then use my code, and you will be, and it has free shipping. So that's fabulous. It's a really, really fabulous deal if you have been looking at getting a different kind of die cutter. All those dies store very easily, and it's a lot of fun to use. Okay, I am going to let you go now, and I'm going to go and get my design wall cleared off so I can go and sew with some flower fabric. I'm Pat Sloan. Find me at Facebook on Quilt Along with Pat Sloan in my community. And if you're looking for my projects, just go to patsloan.com. You can find it all. See you later.